The content of tonight's program addresses an unusual topic which may be considered controversial and explicit. Parental discretion is advised.
These jurors, and you at home, will weigh the evidence presented to you in a dramatic reenactment of an actual court trial.
Judge Paul Howard presiding. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
That cop tried to kill me!
You'll retire and begin your deliberations.
And decide for yourself whether you think the defendant is guilty or innocent.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Guilty or Innocent, the show where good judgment pays. And now, here's our jury moderator, John Shearin.
Hello and welcome to Guilty or Innocent. I'm John Shearin, your jury moderator. These jurors and those of you at home will weigh the evidence presented in a dramatization of an actual court case. Those of our jurors whose verdict matches the original verdict in the case will share $5,000 and earn the right to continue on our program for up to 5 consecutive shows. If the verdict is unanimous and correct, they will share $10,000. Right. You've seen the evidence in the case of the People versus Donald May. It will soon be time to begin your deliberations. Remember, if your final verdict agrees with the original trial verdict, you will share $5,000 and earn the right to continue on the program. If the verdict is unanimous and correct, you will share $10,000. Now, before we begin our deliberations, I'd like to have a preliminary poll of the jury. At this point, how do you think? Is Donald May guilty or innocent? Please vote by pressing your buttons. I'll now reveal the vote. I see we have 11 guilty and 1 innocent. Very interesting. Very interesting here. We have a case of a man defending his house, defending his property, and he thinks he's defending his person, and we have 11 people who think he's guilty. I'd like to hear your reasoning behind that. Ray, you want to start?
Yeah. What disturbs me the most is that he didn't even lock his garage door. And the sign wasn't posted anymore, and even if the sign was posted, all it said was protected by mechanical means.
You think our property, we must lock and secure our property in order to protect it?
Yeah, what if a little neighborhood kid, for instance, opens the garage door, bammo, you know, he gets hit. What if there's a fire in the garage and a fireman opens the garage door? I mean, it's just complete stupidity.
I respect your what-ifs, but I think we're dealing with a specific case here, right? Where a man is terribly afraid of what has happened in his neighborhood before. People have been murdered, people have been killed in his neighborhood, and he's simply trying to protect his property.
That doesn't call for the means of shooting someone's head off.
He didn't set out to shoot someone's head off.
When you point a gun at a doorway, when you point a gun at a doorway at head level, that's what you have in mind. I mean, there's no two ways about that.
No, as soon as the garage door
Wait, Mike, what was that?
Someone was going to break into his home.
They didn't have to break into it. All they had to do was open the door.
Break into his garage.
Wait,
They have neighborhood watches, they have police agencies to go through. Do not take the law in your own hands.
Plus, you should lock your door if you're concerned.
All right, now wait, Jack. Excuse me, Jack. Are you saying he took the law into his own hands by protecting his property?
Yes, sir. You cannot do that.
You stand behind that.
That's right. You can't.
There was no crime committed until they opened that garage door. That was the crime. They were entering property that was not theirs.
Jack, I think you're wrong, Jack. As far as you don't have the right to protect your property. You do have that right, but you don't have the right to use deadly force.
There are many other ways.
Excuse me. All right, now, I respect all of your opinions on this. You say you don't have the right to use deadly force to protect your property or your person. Are you saying that categorically?
For your person, use deadly force.
Well, I think he made it, Mr. May made it clear that he was trying to protect his person as well as his property.
I don't believe so.
Yes, he said he feared for his very life because of the murder of his neighbors. Yes.
Well, we don't know that the murder of his neighbors was done by these two people. It could have been anybody else. Now, that's just pure subjection that it could have been. Honestly, we can see how he could put it together. But he was not directly threatened physically to enable him to pull a gun and then shoot. But to indiscriminately shoot at anybody who opens that door.
This man's cat might have come in the garage, and he was going after a cat or an animal, a child.
Right, but that's right. That in fact did not happen, right?
That's right.
But he created a situation.
Reasonable force. But it could have happened.
What's reasonable force? It has to be
reasonable force. It has to be something that justifies the action. For instance, if this guy is breaking into his garage, why couldn't he have the gun aimed at the floor or at over his head?
Scare him away.
That's going to scare him away.
Or a burglar alarm.
Or a dog.
A dog
or a burglar.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, he repeatedly told the police that he'd had problems.
They had no evidence.
Into his home.
The police didn't have any evidence. They couldn't just go pick on somebody. They couldn't say, well, this man has called us and told us that you are the ones that's breaking into his house, and we arrest you. They had no evidence.
The only thing they've done before is take some chrome in the car and break a window. That does not threaten his life.
Yeah, it doesn't threaten his life, but I think it puts him in a threatened position. Yeah, go ahead.
Why didn't he keep his garage door locked?
Well, that is an interesting question. That I can't argue with. That is a mistake.
He could have used the dog.
It looks like he was inviting someone to come in and get shot.
Oh, you think that enticed him? You're talking about enticement.
To hurt someone.
What was that, Linda?
I don't think he set out to hurt someone.
He was out to kill the person.
Wait, excuse me.
He could have aimed the gun. He didn't have to aim it right at the door.
He was out to kill.
Wait, let Linda make her point. You're 11-1. Let her make her point, then I'll come to you.
A 6-foot person coming in, or a 5-foot person. The point is, the person coming into his garage is committing the crime. Nothing was done until the crime was committed against him.
Her point is, wait a minute. Her point is that an unlawful entry was made. Up to that point, there was no crime committed. There was no crime, in fact, committed until an unlawful entry was made onto the premises of this property. Wait, excuse me, please. This lady is trying to talk.
If he was breaking in, it could have been locked then. You could label that, but it was unlocked. The garage was.
Does that make it a lawful entry?
No, but even though that is happening, there's other agencies and other ways to handle it without deadly force. You have police agencies, neighborhood watches. You have various similar things to watch beside killing a man.
I agree with you, but I think he felt that he had exhausted those possibilities.
Plus, he's assuming anyone that breaks into his house is a murderer, which isn't true. I mean, burglars and murderers are two different people, generally.
That's true, but what we're talking about here is defending your property. It's not merely defending your person, but do you have the right to use deadly force to defend your property?
No. It seems to me that he's out to kill the person that's coming in there, like the one who killed his neighbor. He's out to kill that person.
In other words, his intent, you're saying, is more vengeful than it is preventative.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He never thought, he must have never even thought that when somebody opened that gun, or really not, he didn't care. It could have been anybody opening that gun and open the garage and getting shot by that gun.
Just as a point of interest, any one of you, if your house had been broken into repeatedly, you had exhausted the use of the police force, things like that, you had tried the legal logistics to prevent this, would none of you acted in a similar manner?
I would own a shotgun, but I wouldn't set it up as a trap.
Well, you would set it up as a warning.
No, I wouldn't set it up, period. I'd buy a dog and let him bark, and I'll come
an alarm system. You put an alarm
on the house. Tell my neighbor to watch my house.
That's expensive.
When these people enter his garage, they take their life in their hands by entering his garage.
Get a neighborhood crime watch together to keep that
in. You don't necessarily have to be stealing to go in the man's garage.
Then what other reason would there be?
There's many.
What if there was a fire in the garage?
You could be going after a child, a pet, or anything in the world besides stealing.
Going into the garage.
He could have heard. He could have thought somebody else was in there.
Or he could have forgotten about it and opened the door and blown his head off.
Doesn't justify shooting a guy in the head.
All right.
He didn't set out to shoot someone in the head.
He had
for the gun to go off.
It wasn't aimed at the floor, though, or at the ceiling. It was aimed directly.
He was intending to hurt someone because...
Wait.
Wait a minute, Ray. He intended to hurt someone because Otherwise, he would have put a sign out there that said, people breaking in will get shot, not just this house.
All right, thank you all very much. Thank you.
Fell out.
Thank you very much. This has been terrific participation. Now it's time for your final vote. Ladies and gentlemen, in the case of the people versus Donald May, is Donald May guilty or innocent? I'll now reveal your votes. You stood fast. It's still 11-1 for guilty. And in a moment, we will hear the true verdict from our host, Mr. Melvin Belli.
Now, if the law were made for machines, it'd be as simple as an off-on electrical switch. But even in this day of the computer, man still stands responsible for his actions and cannot delegate them to a machine. This judgment, though it be instantaneous, is a complex combination of conscience, perception, and reason. A device like a spring gun doesn't have that capacity. In the case of people and Donald May, the jury heeded that important fact. The verdict in this case was guilty. I'm Mel Belli.
Today's winning jurors are Jimmy Lee Brock, Ray Cross, Mike Carroll, Melva Gibbs, San Juana Adami, Paul Silver, Jack Singleton, Ann Lacey, Tracy Brown, Patrick Kerwin, Bill Hudson. These jurors share a cash prize of $5,000. Thank you for watching Guilty or Innocent, the show where good judgment pays.
Stay tuned for the 7 o'clock movie as a railroad troubleshooter carrying a payroll is held up by an outlaw gang. James Stewart and Audie Murphy star in Night Passage, coming up next on TV 39.
Sponsors have been given promotional consideration.